Good day everyone, I'm Midshipman Doliente together with my group mates, Midshipman Cosme and Padrones. We are now going to discuss the sample minimum manning plan for a cargo vessel. Based on requirements from the International Maritime Organization or the IMO and the International Convention on Standard of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers STCW. So without further ado, let's start. So here are the table that we created for sample minimum manning plan for cargo vessel. So first, shipboard position is the master or the captain. Required certification is COC for master mariner, and required STCW training is basic safety training, advanced firefighting, medical care, bridge, and resource management. The roles and responsibilities of master is overall command of the vessel and responsible for the safety of crew, cargo, and navigation. Next position is the chief officer. Required certification is COC for chief mate. Required STCW training is basic safety training, advanced firefighting, and proficiency in survival craft. Roles and responsibilities of chief mate are head of deck department responsible for cargo operation and deck crew. Next is the second officer with required certification of COC OIC NW or officer in charge of navigational watch, and required STCW training is basic safety training and radar ARPA. And the roles and responsibilities are primary navigator, responsible for voyage, planning, and chart corrections. Next position are the third officer, with required certification of OIC NW and required STCW training is basic safety training. The roles and responsibilities are responsible for safety, equipment, and assist with navigation watch.
So, good moving on. Good day everyone, I am Michiman Padrones and I will be talking about the engine department. When we hear about the engine department, the first person who would come in mind is the chief engineer. Because the chief engineer is the head of the entire engine department. They are the ones who hold the ultimate responsibility for the operation, maintenance, and the regulatory compliance of all machinery and propulsion systems. They also serve as the technical advisor for the captain. Now, what are the required certification for chief engineer? The required certification for chief engineer is the Certificate of Competency or COC Chief Engineer Management Level. Now, what are the required STCW training? So for core needs or what is the most basic needs is the basic safety training or BST, advanced firefighting, and engine resource management. But when you are obtaining license, what you would need is additional for medical first aid, medical care, PSCRB or survival craft and rescue boats, and also high voltage management level. The next in line is the second engineer. The second engineer manages the daily engine room operations and the watchkeeping rotation, acting as the direct deputy to the chief engineer. The required certifications for a second engineer is COC Chief Engineer or COC Second Engineer FOEW. Now, why COC Chief Engineer? This is because both the Chief Engineer and the Second Engineer both operate at management level, so they require identical technical knowledge. The Chief Engineer acts as Chief in Waiting, who is legally qualified to step in as Chief Engineer. What are the required basic STCW training? These are basic safety training, advanced firefighting, and medical first aid. The next in line is the third engineer. The third engineer is responsible for maintaining all auxiliary equipment, including boilers, pumps, purifiers, and auxiliary generators to ensure continuous support for the vessel systems. Now, what are the required certifications? The required certifications are COC OICEW or Officer in Charge of an Engineering Watch. What are the required STCW training? These are BST or basic safety training, advanced firefighting and medical first aid, and also high voltage at operational level. Now last, not including the ratings in the engine department, which will be discussed later, is the fourth engineer. The fourth engineer assists senior engineers with major repairs and overhauls while maintaining the fuel systems, purifier, and air compressors. So the fourth engineers are mainly assistants for other engineers. Now what is the required certification? The required certification is the COC OICEW or Officer in Charge of the Engineering Watch. What are the required STCW training? The required STCW training for the fourth engineer is the basic safety training, advanced firefighting, and also medical first aid.
And for the other shipboard position, we have bosun, the one who supervises deck crew during maintenance, mooring, and cargo operations. The required certification is able seafarer deck certificate. And for the required STCW training is basic safety training. And for able seaman is the one who performs navigation, watch duties, and assist with mooring operations. Their required certification is able seafarer deck. And for required STCW training is basic safety training. And the next one is ordinary seaman, the one who assists with deck work and lookout duty. Their required certification is seafarer rating certificate. And for required STCW training is basic safety training. And for the oiler or motorman, assist with engineers in engine room machinery. Their required certification is able seafarer engine. And for required STCW training is basic safety training. And for the last is wiper, the one who cleans machinery, spaces, and assists engine room crew. Their required certification is engine room rating certificate. And for required STCW training is basic safety training.